That was pretty exciting. Hey, welcome back. I am your host, Primo, and today I'm going to be asking a question I thought I'd never have to ask, which is, will the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato be a good buy? Lamborghini has begun to push this car, and I want to take a look at it, discuss exactly that. But first we do that, before that, if you want to support our channel, if you want to help us move forward with some of the stuff that we have coming out, make sure that you head over to executiveautomotivesociety.com. We have a product section, and that's society.com/products. And you can take a look at some of the shirts that we have. We're going to be bringing you some more shirts and other products down the road. And obviously it doesn't hurt to like and subscribe to the channel and get updated on everything that's coming out. So the last couple of weeks has been super exciting. There's record sales again in the supercar world. The new Rolls-Royce Spectre, that is set to debut this year, and the new McLaren hybrid Arturo. There was an F40 that sold for like $6 million at auction, and then a new Bugatti that broke a record. So it kind of feels like that late 80s all over again, just prior to the fuel embargo that hurt all the cars out there. And I tend to wonder if we are headed towards some sort of a bubble. So, and like all bubbles, the question is when will this bubble burst? But the thing I want to ask right now is the Sterrato part of that bubble? And I don't think it is. I don't think this is a car that really tries to do anything new. It still clings to the old school. It is a Huracan, and this is all a good thing. It is a Huracan. It is a positioned car that's already out there, that's done well, it's sold well, it's an awesome car. I think that everybody would be proud to own. The Huracan Technica right now has been rave reviews. I don't think they could even keep up with the demand that car had. So that's the other thing is there's 1,499 Sterratos, and they're going to be set to start deliveries in this summer. So that thing is to say, you can't get a Technica, maybe you should consider a Sterrato. And the most exciting thing for this thing is we finally get a car that I think can handle the potholes in my neighborhood, and that alone is probably the most exciting news that I've ever seen in a car. So that's worth it alone. But Primo, I hear you ask, the connoisseurs of all things exotic, is an off-road Lamborghini a real Lamborghini? And the truth is, that is a very good question. Is this a true Lamborghini? But if you paid attention to our Did You Know series, you'll know they had plans to build a Cheetah way back in 1977. This is not their first off-road venture into a new vehicle. And the great thing is about the current positioning that they have in their marketing is the idea that they're pushing this ice road thing, or ice racing, or ice competition for it. And that's the truth, is ice racing isn't new for Lamborghini. It's obviously an all-wheel drive. They've had a snow tire option in the past, and they even have an ice racing driving school. So people have gone out and actually learned how to race Lamborghinis on the ice. So they've been ready to go for quite some time about pulling in something that is a new vehicle that's set to, let's take this on the road, So in a short, you do a Google search right now, and you'll see a ton of Lamborghinis that are playing in the powder, playing out in areas that most people would say, hey, that car does not fit. So, and in the dirt, the truth is the Sterrato is indeed all Lamborghini. Just because you think it's an exotic and it shouldn't get dirty, well, that's not our problem. You really need to consider something that you can take on out anywhere. Like, these cars are not just race cars that are made to be babied. They're made to be taken out and actually driven. The concept of the collector car finding a new garage went out a long time ago. And actually, it was probably the late 90s and early 2000s just ruined it. So the idea of taking a car out, driving on the road, and the Sterrato, I think, fits perfectly into that. These cars drive And if I'm going to ask that, then I say, why not drive everywhere? We sit here every day and exonerate these daily driven supercars and say it is so cool to have a car that you can drive all the time. It's one of the biggest questions when I was selling the cars that everybody asked was, hey, could you daily drive this car? So if we're going to exonerate that, then I think that the Sterrato in itself is kind of the main car we should really exonerate and just say, hey, this is a car that will actually do what everybody says or looks for a supercar to do. And there's a truth is there are a few cars that be able to perform that duty as well as I think the Sterrato will be able to. Still, I think people will have pushback. They'll say it only does 160 miles per hour. Maybe that's too slow, or the fender flares are not to their liking. But if I were looking at an entry-level supercar, one that could get me into the door while the door is still open, I think the Sterrato would be perfect. And it's a nice niche vehicle. So think about it like this. Okay, if you could go back and purchase a Cheetah. Let's say you knew that they were making that car and you had an opportunity to buy one and it just came up and you said, hey, there's a Cheetah. They're not going to make many of those. They're probably not going to get the contract. Let's say they're powered by V12. I don't know. I think you consider that. I mean, why wouldn't you? And I know it's unfortunate that the LMO02 has not really seen the widespread valuations that we see on cars like the Countach. Some examples have sold for 4 times the original 120K MSRP, but the LM is also a vehicle that's very difficult to work on. It was kind of like they just slammed that V12 in there, and yeah, it's a lot different kind of a monster than we're looking at for say a Huracan, for instance. Here's a V10. It's a car that's had some history. So compared to the Sterrato, and truthfully in a world that's forcing out the V10, it is the last of a dying breed. And I would say almost like the T-Rex of this automotive world that we have. A lot of people want to say, this internal combustion engine is the way of the past. We obviously see that everybody loves their internal combustion engines. And I think that's really one of the driving forces to a lot of the sales that we have seen. So, you know what, if we want to call this car the T-Rex and the off-road vehicle and be able to have something that could take it out there in places that most of these supercars can't, the Sterrato really hits a bill there. And honestly, I'd like to see Lamborghini work on a stock before working on the Sterrato. And I get why there's pushback on this car, but it is a rustically beautiful car in a workhorse kind of way. This car does not look like something that's trying to be pretty. It doesn't look like it's apologizing for what it's doing. It looks like it's dedicated to doing something that a lot of people didn't think that these cars can do. So I don't think you get into this car with a collector mindset. You get into this car for what it's intended for, and that's driving. The rally cars, they're no holes barred, no prisoners taken mindset, and that has excited so many of us over the years and even empowered. I mean, look, the SUV generation is one that we've begged for in car builders, and I see automakers itching to deliver that experience on so many levels of being able to drive something that's a rally car. And we sell that. We've seen a lot of these new cars or trucks even that have a lot of power to them, and they're not sold to say, this is a road experience. This vehicle has a ton of power, and it does have that off-road capability. Land Rover, Range Rover, they've lived on that monster for years, and I mean, I don't see why that cars can't take that same experience, and that makes me think that this has an incredible future ahead of it. And I sincerely hope it's not the last of its kind. I do hope it's actually the first of a new thinking. Kind of think back when the Panamera or the Cayenne came out, that this chapter opens the doors for vehicles we've never imagined we could have. But obviously the clock is ticking and the bubble is showing leaks. So just in case, I think you should consider the Sterrato, because it would be the last in a new generation that really is a generation that we won't see much of in the future, or there's a potential for that, that you get a car that is perfect, everybody wants it, and now we don't have access to that anymore. So that would leave the Sterrato in a very pinch hitter position. The idea that we've made the car and we can't make another one like it, that leaves you 1,499 cars that I think will definitely go up in value. But I hope, like I said, I hope you don't buy it as a collector car. I hope you buy it as a driver car. And I really do hope that I see with these numbers out there that we can see a couple of these cars on the road. And I just think that would be very exciting. And that's the thing is the Sterrato may be the last chance you get to get a car like this. So get one before it's too late. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope you like this. It's a different little format that I wanted to throw in for everybody to kind of see where we're going forward with things. I still want to do some of the Carside Chat Live stuff with you, but I did want to have something where we kind of look at some of these cars and say, hey, does this car work? Does it not work? And we kind of did that with the Koenigsegg and the Pagani, and those cars were top-end scores. Like, the only problem is you have to have millions of dollars to buy one. The Sterrato, you don't need that. So if that's a car that you're looking at and you say, hey, I want to consider something. Hey, can't get into a Technica. Hey, you know what? Sterrato's out there. Start looking while you got an opportunity. And I think as we start seeing these come in, people are going to start warming up to them the same way they did the Urus. Urus, huge sale car right now. That thing is just going like hotcakes. I don't expect that to slow down at any time as long as it has the engine it has in it and continues to move forward. People are going to be interested in the Urus, and all these brands that have SUVs have seen big growth for it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit some of these other videos. Visit our website. Come back for more. We'd love to see you. We're going to be seeing you soon. And as always, keep on driving, folks. Talk to you then.